From fucking pillar to post of this card, it was an absolute barn burner. Now, I'll just go ahead and say this off rip. I haven't missed a card since like fucking. I think I missed the Kevin Lee versus Edson Barboza, which is like a fight night card, and I also missed Francis Ngannou versus Curtis Blades, the second fight night card. And I don't know, but that is like, I went on a long streak before that watching every card, and then I missed those two, and then I watched, from, what was that, like 3 years ago by now? And this card is one of the best cards I've ever seen in my entire life, from pillar to post. Now, my favorite card of all time has always been UFC 217, which is not a controversial pick whatsoever. But I only watched the main card yesterday. I took the liberty to watch from, the 6 p.m. prelims all the way up until the main card, which I have on the screen right here. Now, I just want to say the prelims and the early prelims were absolutely nutty. In the first fight of the early prelims, which is the first fight in the night, dude, there was a knockdown in like the first 5 seconds, and then they just spam submissions like there were two UFC 3 players that had no idea what to do on the ground. They just kept spamming submissions, and that fight was absolutely nuts. And I think it got finished by like ground and pound from the guard. And the rest of the prelims are really good as well. And just to add a little bit of controversy and spice, there's another fight between, I think, fucking Dwight Grant and Skielich or Skutlich or whatever his name was, which was, to me, a bullshit decision. I definitely thought that Dwight Grant lost that fight. Dwight Grant, I think that's his name. I expected the entire card to be here and I wouldn't have to memorize any of their names, but I couldn't find it, apparently. I could probably pull it up on the UFC's Instagram, but I'm not going to go through that. And then you had the one-arm rear naked choke, fucking nice as hell by, maybe it was, I don't fucking, how do I not remember these dudes' names? Well, really big 170 pounder against Cowboy Oliveira. And that really set the tone for the rest of the night of a bunch of crazy shit happening. Because, Oliveira was trying to defend the choke by keeping like a 2-on-1 grip on the other hand that would usually, secure and lock the choke. And he's like, fuck it, I got long arms, I'll just do it like this. And I think that was one of the fights that closed the prelims off. And then you get to the Anthony Smith and Jimmy Crute fight. It's like, dude, all the fights on this card were amazing, but whenever you like throw in like some controversy or throw in some like extremely fucked up moments, it just, in hindsight, makes the card more memorable. I know it's not necessarily a good thing for the individual fighter, but for the retrospective on the card, it just makes it better, honestly. So you had Anthony Smith versus Jim Crute. Enjoyed the fuck out of this fight, and Jim Crute is getting his fucking face jabbed off. I'm a big fan of Anthony Smith, so I like to see him win. But he's been looking like shit in his last few fights, like physically. Like, he just looks like not nearly as in good a shape as he was, say, for like the Jones fight. But he was jabbing his face off and then banged off the fucking leg kick to the back of the knee, inside of the leg, or outside of the leg, rather. And looked like it destroyed a nerve because the dude's foot just literally stopped working. And it's not even like it stopped working as soon as he put his foot on the mat. But like he got kicked and then he went to bring the leg back to then put it. And you could see that he just, as he was about to put it down, like it hasn't even made contact with the mat, it went out. Like you literally seen that. And, Jim Crute tried to like not protest necessarily, but he was trying to play it like it was cool. So he told the doctor, he's like banging on his chest, he's like, let's do it. And as soon as he banged on his chest, his fucking leg gave out and he nearly fell on his ass. That was hilarious. So that was a good tone to start the card off with. So then you have the rematch, 10 years in the making between Uriah Hall and Chris Weidman. Both in similar, Chris Weidman's career is really on a downturn, honestly. I know he's coming off of a win right before this fight. But he, had a pretty big fall into obscurity, rather. And Uriah Hall, he had one as well, but not nearly to the degree of Chris Weidman, just because Uriah wasn't a champion. And, the first strike thrown, bam, broke his leg. And I was, like, literally just sitting here like this. Because I always watch the fights with my cousin through the headset. And I was like, oh, like, I wasn't looking. Like, as soon as he kicked and fell, I, like, looked down and see a fucking mangled leg. And I told my cousin, I'm just sitting there and I keep repeating, like, the irony. The absolute irony. I'm going to put on, cringe warning, I'm going to put a 5-second warning here. I'm going to throw up the pictures of Anderson Silva snapping his leg against Chris Weidman, and then Chris Weidman snapping his leg against Uriah Hall. But I literally just kept sitting there saying the fucking irony of this. And that sucks for Chris Weidman, obviously. That's just, it sucks for everybody, honestly. Then you have Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade. I knew it. I don't, like, honestly, I know that they have to promote the fight, but I watch a lot of breakdowns and predictions leading up to this. And a lot of people would not just say Valentina is going to shut Jessica Andrade down. I don't know what planet these people are from that thought Jessica Andrade stood a chance, because it's like, she's got some power, but she's not as powerful as Valentina Shevchenko. Now, people get mixed up between powerful and then, like, selective striking. So, obviously, a fucking straight shot, you know, someone like Max Holloway, there's a lot of straight punches. Like, yeah, he's not going to knock somebody out cold consistently because he's not throwing these absolute power shots where he's just swinging overhand rights or extremely powerful hooks, because that's not his style. That doesn't mean he can't hit hard and he's not as powerful. Like, he could hit a lot harder if he was throwing fucking check left hooks and overhand rights all the fucking time. So I just thought, there's no place where Jessica's better. Not a single place. She will get her ass taken down. Maybe her bottom game is better than Valentina. We don't see Valentina on the bottom a lot. But the top game isn't comparable whatsoever. Valentina gets to that crucifix division all the time. Valentina's cardio is better. She's faster. She's longer. She's rangier. She can't beat her anywhere. And that's what we've seen. She came out there pissed. It reminded me of Robbie Lawler versus Ben Askren. Robbie Lawler just seemed fucking pissed. And then, yeah, Jessica Andrade just didn't stand a chance. And I was telling my cousin that. I was like, dude, like, people think Jessica hits powerful. It's like, yeah, when you're facing 115, or strawweights rather, it's like, yeah, you're going to hit harder. But when you get up to the big girl that fought Amanda Nunes at 135 twice and nearly finished her in the first fight, dude, it's not going to really mean much, honestly. And that's how I felt. And then you get to Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili. I mean, dude, heavens if they want to put Rose versus Valentina. I know that they've been training partners, or they've at least trained together in the past. Rose doesn't stand a chance, and Rose is arguably the best female fighter. But it's like, dude, it's just, someone's going to say that, like, oh, put Rose versus Valentina, and there's someone who's going to think Rose is going to stand a chance for some reason. And it's like, Rose got ragdolled by Jessica Andrade in their fight, and Valentina just ragdolled Jessica. Anyways, we'll get to that if we ever get to that. But Zhang Weili versus Rose Namajunas, I had Rose winning by, most likely, I thought, decision. But, oh my god, the high kick was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely fabulous, honestly. Just on replay, I could watch that over and over because she throws the kick, right? And I don't even know if she threw a lot of low kicks before that. I mean, there wasn't even a lot of time to throw a lot of shit. So she threw a kick, or Zhang braced and tried to anticipate it as a low kick. So she, like, backed the legs up, which exposed the head. And Rose literally throws a kick through the guard. So it wasn't around the guard. It went through the middle, whipped around, took this bitch off her feet, and folded her like a lawn chair. And then, you know, Hammer Fist came shortly after, and it got broken up by Keith Beer and Cigarettes Peterson. And Zhang somehow protested it. It was one of the most legit. No one thinks this is a fucking bad stoppage. No one, because it was a perfect stoppage. Literally perfect. Oh, I'm tired as fuck. Man, I was probably up for like 6 hours longer than I should have been yesterday. I got like no sleep, and I did not sleep at all until the fight card was over. And it was such a good card that I sat there and I waited for the pre-fight conference and everything. Pretty sure I probably spent like 8 hours watching the event. Then we have Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. I'm pretty sure this was probably the biggest shocker on the card. Not that Kamaru won by TKO or Kamaru won at all, because honestly I had excuse me, Kamaru winning by decision, and I had either one of them winning by decision. I don't see Kamaru getting finished, and I also didn't see Jorge getting finished, but I thought maybe Kamaru can like ground and pound him or something, or get a really like 5th round TKO or some shit like that just by accumulation. But I knew Kamaru was a lot better in striking, and clearly a lot more powerful than Jorge Masvidal anticipated, because he was saying he had no power, which is fucking crazy to me. because you've seen him hit Gilbert with his jab, and he reacted like it was a hook from Francis Ngannou. Like, clearly he's powerful, and I was thinking, dude, being up there with the boys, Trevor Whitman and Justin Gaethje, we've seen how much better Justin Gaethje's striking got from working with Trevor Whitman, and Rose is obviously phenomenal on the feet. I knew that Jorge's only chance is on the feet, but they're not as far apart on the feet, clearly, as a lot of people anticipated. And that's what I thought. So I was like, man, I mean, Jorge has a chance, and he could fuck him up on the feet. But it's like, it's not as big of a chance as people think it is. Like, obviously, in the grappling, dude, it's probably like, it's a pretty wide disparity. Let's say the disparity is like this fucking wide. Let's say Kamaru's like 50% better than Jorge. It's like, dude, in the striking, Jorge's like 20% better. So it's like, if it goes to the ground, Kamaru has a way better chance of beating him, obviously. But he has a better chance at surviving on the feet and beating Jorge on the feet than Jorge does beating him on the ground, or even keeping up with him on the ground. That's how I felt. So I was like, man, no matter where this fight goes, Kamaru has a chance, and that's what always went into my prediction. And damn, but he got knocked out cold. Literally he got fucking dog washed and sent to the shadow realm. He literally got an African baptism. It was fucking insane, and it was a very good top off. It's like, this is what I was looking for. Because in UFC 217, it was triple headlined by champions, title fights rather. And all the title fights were fucking amazing, and they went crazy. I know all the champions lost that night, but this was fucking nuts as well. You had 2 champions retain, 1 lose it. But the fights were fucking nuts. All finishes. Ooh, baby. This fight was nuts. This is what I live for, man. This is... like, shit like this is what gets me up the next day and what makes me go to sleep with a smile on my face. It's really what I'm passionate about. So, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your guys' thoughts on UFC 261 was in the comment section below.